Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. How are you, all of you?
Fine, ma'am.
Have your school started?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So they have started the classes in the schools?
Yes, ma'am.
In biology, what they are teaching you all?
Life process is going on for us.
Still, they did not completed life process?
No, ma'am, they are in transportation.
Okay. For 5 minutes, we'll wait and start the classes.
You had said us to draw the diagrams.
Yes. You all have drawn all those diagrams, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you open? Meantime, others join, open yourself and show me the diagrams.
Ma'am, can I present the screen and show you? Because I have a PDF.
Yeah. Please present.
Okay, ma'am, like it's like post disabled participant screen sharing. I'll open my camera.
Yeah? Yes. Labeling, you did not do labeling. Tentacles, but go to the front page. Go to the front page. This amoeba is there, no? Okay. Inside, please label its nucleus. Inside the dark spot is nucleus. Label it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And also here also in multiple fission also. Once go to the back page. Go to the back page. Lift your book up little bit up. Please label the inside ones as what we call them.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Label
ma'am.
everything. You should label it. Okay. And also next page sporangium is there, no? Harita,
Yes, ma'am.
there should be small spores present inside the sporangium.
Okay, ma'am.
You have not done. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Do it. Next, Aditi. Show your diagrams. Why you have not completed? Why you want to send in WhatsApp? If this is the case, I'm going to give you all homework in every class. As a Akshita. For school exams only, no. I'm also asking you to practice. The school exams also will be having. Akshita,
Yes, ma'am.
can you show me your diagrams?
One minute, ma'am.
Yeah. Sanyu Kumar, no problem. No, if you forgot to label also, you show me your diagrams. Amrita, please all of be ready with your diagrams. I'll ask you all to show. You need to open your screen and show me the diagrams.
Okay, ma'am.
One after the other. Whoever is ready can open the screen. Open the video and show me the diagrams. Start. Again, we need to complete the topic. So this week, shall we have life process exam? Means next week, whatever time for you all to fix the date. On Wednesday, shall I send you all the life process paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So on a Wednesday, we will be having life process paper. Epsilon Academy. Who is in the meeting? Who is in the meeting, ma'am? Epsilon Academy.
Admin ma'am, Bhaskar.
Huh?
Bhaskar ma'am, admin.
Okay. Admin Bhaskar. For these people on Wednesday, they will be having a biology exam. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll be sending the paper. It is a, we'll go with, because it's a first exam,
Okay.
we'll go for
MS ma'am.
40 marks.
40 marks.
40 marks exam.
Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
send you all the paper. Please
Okay.
put the message in the group also. Wednesday, you can send them the paper.
Okay, ma'am.
And by
Can you
Wednesday
comment
night, I should get the papers for the correction.
Okay, ma'am.
So that we can discuss with them on the Friday, so that we can also know how they are listening.
Okay, ma'am.
And 40 marks exam, chapter is life process. Please note.
Right process.
Life process.
Okay, okay.
Okay then.
Paper send Wednesday பண்றீங்க ma'am.
On Wednesday, they will write the exam.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
நான் ma'am கிட்ட சொல்றேன்.
Okay, remaining people start showing me your diagrams. We need to start the class also, no? Open your screens.
Ma'am, can you see my video, ma'am?
No, I cannot see yours. Just unmute your or video. Yeah. Glare is coming, Dani. Glare. I can some glare is coming. Be closer. 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. You should label the side part as bud in Hydra. Okay. Yeah. Remaining fragmentation and all those you have not drawn.
Ma'am, I've drawn, ma'am.
Okay then. Remaining people, Amrita, Akshita.
Ma'am, can I show?
Yeah, open your videos. Bring it closer, Pooju. 1 minute, ma. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. That fragmentation, Pooja,
Yes.
that fragmentation, you also put arrows at the side and put the fragments. Okay?
Yes.
Next. Vaishnavi, Amrita, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please show me your paper. Amrita, bring it closer. 1 minute. Yeah. Vaishnavi?
Shall I show, ma'am?
Yes, please share.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you see, ma'am?
Yes, I can see it. Just take it little back. What is the spelling of tentacles?
Sorry, ma'am.
Tentacle spelling.
Ma'am, can you say, ma'am? I will note it down.
Tentacles. Tell me, you only tell.
Ma'am, TENTACLES.
What you wrote? Correct it.
Ma'am, Arman
Yes,
has
ma'am.
some issues, ma'am. He'll join within some time.
Okay. Next, home. Sanyu Kumar.
Ma'am, can I show, ma'am?
Yes, please show Janvi.
Ma'am, Akshita, ma'am.
Akshita, please show me. Sorry. Labeling, Akshita. That spores you need to write. What are those inside? Okay. And next, bring the page lower. Okay. Akshita,
Yes, ma'am.
labeling.
Yes, ma'am. I will label it, ma'am.
Everything you did not label it properly.
Okay, ma'am. I will label it, ma'am.
Next. Anybody who is left out? Sanyu Kumar? Janani? She left again. Okay, shall I start the class? So you can see the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the last class, we have talked about the different asexual reproduction. Mostly all those will be taking place in the unicellular lower organ animals. Okay? Or unicellular, or we cannot call it as them as animals, unicellular organisms. But there is a last asexual reproduction. We call it as a vegetative propagation or vegetative reproduction, which takes exclusively only in the plants. And this we have been following from many centuries. Okay, the farmers usually propagate the plants, whatever the plants examples we are discussing, usually by this type of propagation itself. So what is vegetative propagation means? New plants will be obtained from the parts of the old plant. It can be a stem, it can be a root, or it can be a leaf. So they don't require any reproductive organs like stamens, carpels, or anything. They don't require any reproductive organs. So they will be forming from the old plant. Okay, and this is one of the most natural methods. So these plants, whatever they have fallen on the soil, usually when the favorable condition is, they can give rise to the new plant. So best examples are here. I have given you bryophyllum, where we can see here, this is the leaf. This is called as the bryophyllum. So at the ends of the leaf, there are buds. Wherever I'm putting it, you can see the ends of the edges of the leaf usually have the buds. So when these buds fall into the on the soil, so they give rise to a new plant. So vegetative propagation in case of bryophyllum is by leaves, whereas in case of potato, it is potato tuber. This is the stems. These are the buds. If you see a potato, old potato, anybody have seen small greenish buds coming on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So when we cut that part and place it in the soil, they give rise to a new plant. If you are having any form of any soil, or when your parents are doing gardening or anything, just try it. Within 4 or 5 days will get a small plant. Okay, next, money plant. All of you know, from the stem cuttings only, the money plant will be giving rise to the new plant. Next is begonia, also by the leaves. Okay, 1 minute, I'll show you all the one type of a propagation I have in my home. I'll get it. Once I'm stopping the screen, Bhargav. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the, see, this is a money plant. This is the cutting of the money plant. So when I cut this plant and kept it in a small water, you can see the roots have been developed. Okay. This is one type of a vegetative propagation where by using the stem, we can develop the roots. Okay. This is here, you can see the roots develop to the stem.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. I did not even keep it in the soil. I kept it in the water itself. So this is one type of a vegetative propagation. In the same way, you can also do for mint. You can also do for other different parts of the, like you can also do for this one. Jasmine also sometimes you make, that is by layering. Try it at your homes. Okay, so this is the different parts of the vegetative propagation. So let us go to the next slide. So what now, by that are the natural methods where we cut it, we get different parts of the plants. But by using that vegetative propagation technique, farmers have developed different artificial methods to develop a new plant. These methods, whatever now I am discussing, are the man-made methods, like by cuttings, as I told you. A small part of the plant which is removed by making a cut with a sharp knife is called as a cutting. So a cut can be a piece of a stem or a root or a leaf. And by using these cuttings itself, we can propagate especially the rose plants, sugarcane, cactus. All these can be done by the vegetative propagation itself. So the small cutting in course of time will be developing roots and can be developing into a new plant. This especially we do in the rose plant. If you have any rose plants, you can cut a small part of it and keep it in the soil. After 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you can see the roots are developed at the bottom of it. Okay, adventitious roots will be developed. Next, second type of artificial propagation is the layering. So in this method, a small branch of the plant will be pulled towards the ground and part of it will be covered with the moist soil in this manner. Okay, a small part of the branch will be pulled bottom and part of it will be covered with this. In the course of time, the small branch will be developing roots. So this technique is known as the layering. Okay, so best examples where we do layering are jasmine, strawberry, hibiscus, guava. Next one, the third one is the grafting. So in the grafting, what we do is we will be cutting. This is called, as you can see over here, this is a graft. Means the bottom part will be of one plant and the top part will be from the other plant. So we will cut it in a small V-shaped manner. I'll be 1 minute. So if this is the plant, first the bottom part of the plant having the roots, okay, will be cut in a V-shaped manner. The top part will be removed and usually in this manner, V-shaped manner, we cut it. Okay, then the stem from the other plant also cut in this V-shaped manner will be fixed over here. So the lower part is from the original plant, whereas the upper part is from a different plant. This technique is known as layering. After that we have cut it, first we'll be tying off with the silicone tape so that it will be tightened and held together for few weeks of time. So the bottom part usually is known as stalk, whereas the top part is known as cycle. Okay, the bottom part is known as the stalk and the top part is known as the siphon. So whatever the new plant which is developed will be having both the characteristic features of the stalk as well as the siphon. The best examples, if you can see, bougainvillea. Anybody has gone to the nurseries? Plant nursery.
Yes, ma'am.
Having seen bougainvillea plant with different flowers on the same plant itself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is due to grafting itself. Nobody, other people have seen, only one or two have seen.
Ma'am, actually, I only saw
I've
like
seen,
pink
ma'am.
colored and a little light colored things.
Okay. Remaining people,
Yes, ma'am, I've
Yes,
seen.
ma'am.
you have seen. So all of you should do gardening, then only you will be understanding all this. So again, I'm telling the bottom part is known, having the roots is known as the stalk. And the top part or the stem, cut stem from the new plant is known as cycle. Okay, and these are the 1 mark questions. So only I'm repeating y'all. They'll be asking y'all in the 1 mark question. So the best examples are apple, peach, apricot, pear. All the fruits usually are done by grafting only nowadays. Okay. So these advantages of the vegetative propagation, the new plant produced by artificial vegetative propagation will be exactly similar to that of the parent plant. The fruit trees grown from the cutting or grafting start to bear fruits very earlier compared to when we put a seed and ask they make it grow in the plant, whereas the vegetatively propagated fruit plants will usually bear fruits very early, means shorter duration time. Many plants can be grown from just one parent itself. You can also get seedless plants by this artificial propagation. Okay, these are the advantages of the vegetative propagation. Next, coming to the another technique, which we call it as a micro propagation, and it is also done in the plants itself. This is called as the tissue culture. And this is the important 3 marks question in your textbook. This is given in form of a box, but this is a very important 3 marks question. So in this the tissue culture, what is a tissue culture is the production of new plants from a small piece of a plant tissue removed from the growing tip of the plant in a suitable culture medium is called as tissue culture. Means growing the plants, means growing the plants in a small plate inside a laboratory is called as a tissue culture. Okay, a small part of the plant, it can be a root, it can be a stem, it can be a tip, will be plucked on this is a Petri plate, we call it as a Petri plates. Okay, a medium will be poured, a suitable medium, culture medium will be poured into these plates and will be kept on these Petri plates. These now will be developed into a new plants. After the plants have been developed, they will be shifted to the soil. So this this is the most artificial and advanced technology now they are using for vegetatively propagating the plants, and this is called as a tissue culture. So what is the procedure over here? The tissue is placed on the culture medium. The culture medium, what it contains all the nutrients and the hormones required for the cell to grow into a plant. Okay, so when the cells are placed, that is the tissue, it can be from the stem or from the root or from the leaf. When the tissue of the plant is placed on this culture medium, it will be dividing rapidly to form callus. Okay, we immediately in the first stage itself, we don't get any plant with roots and shoots, shoot. Okay, we get a small mass of cells, a small mass of undifferentiated cells is known as callus. You are noting it down. It's not there in the presentation. Please note it down. A small mass of undifferentiated cells is known as callus. So here in this figure, you can see, no, these are the callus.
Ma'am, can you repeat again?
Callus means small mass of undifferentiated cells. Means they don't have roots or shoot.
Ma'am, can you show the before slide for 1 minute, ma'am?
Okay, let me finish this slide.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So callus means a small mass of undifferentiated cells. Now this callus, after the callus is formed, they are transferred to another medium containing plant hormones that will be stimulating the callus to develop roots. Okay. Then again, they will be shifting it to another medium where the plant hormones will be stimulating the shoot. Okay. First, they will be shifting the callus into a medium containing a plant hormone that stimulates the roots. Next, again, they will be shifting into the another culture medium containing plant hormone that stimulates the shoot. Okay. Now these plantlets will be after these are called as the small plants, we call them as the plantlets, where they have developed the roots and the shoots. Okay. Now these small plantlets will be transferred into the soil to form into a mature plant. So this technique nowadays is being used extensively in the agriculture. It is used in the propagation of banana leaf plants, because banana plants, usually the farmers will be buying the plants from there is no seedling in the banana plant. They will be directly buying the plants. So usually most of the plants, because what the farmers buys are the tissue cultured plants. Okay. So what are the advantages of this tissue culture? It's a very fast technique. New plants will be produced by this tissue culture are usually disease free. Very little space, a small laboratory is enough to propagate these plants. Okay. And by these methods, we can grow the plants around the year, irrespective of any weather or seasonal conditions. You can see, nowadays, if you going on a highway, you can see some greenhouses nowadays on the farms. Have anybody of you seen?
Yes, ma'am.
And those are nothing but the houses where tissue propagation is going on. So any doubts you have? Have you any doubts?
Notes, ma'am.
Huh?
Ma'am, we have notes.
You have noted down?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you show the before slide, ma'am?
Yes, I'm showing.
Ma'am, for mango tree, is it only drafting a method or something else?
Usually they do by seedling. Nowadays, mostly is by grafting only they are doing.
Okay.
Because after you keep a seed, it takes time to develop into a new plant. Now nobody is actually doing in that way. Usually the mango plants and these banana plants, we are getting as a samplings only. Am
Yes,
I
ma'am.
right? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
That is mostly they are doing it by vegetative propagation. Whatever the samplings we are getting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you can go to the next slide, ma'am.
What are the this is overall about the asexual reproduction. So what are the advantages of the asexual reproduction? The organism does not have to depend on any another organism for carrying out the reproduction, because a single parent is involved. It takes less time than the sexual reproduction. and hence number of offsprings can be produced in a shorter time. The offsprings are like a clones, means they are exactly resembling to their parents. Desirable characteristics also can be incorporated by vegetative propagation, like grafting and all those. We can also incorporate the desirable characters also into the vegetative, into the new offsprings by vegetative propagation. So these are the advantages of asexual reproduction. With this, we have completed the asexual reproduction. If you are not, all of you are not having any doubts, I'll move on to the sexual reproduction. Can I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Now coming to the sexual reproduction. So this is the definition for the sexual reproduction. Already we have discussed in the previous class also. So it's a process of production of offsprings, that is new individual by fusion of two cells. Okay, the two cells are known as gametes. One from the male parent known as male gamete, other from the female parent known as the female gamete, to form a diploid cell known as zygote, which develops into the mature organism. This is called as, this is the definition of the sexual reproduction. So in the figure you can see over here, it's about, this is about in the human beings. So in the sexual reproduction, we'll be discussing about the plants as well as about the human beings. So you can see over here in the figure. So the females produce female gametes known as egg, and this contains only 23 chromosomes, whereas the males produce male gametes known as sperms. It also contains only 23 chromosomes. When they fuse together, this process of fusion is known as fertilization. Okay, the process of fusion is known as fertilization. That leads to the formation of the zygote. Okay, and they contain 46 chromosomes together. And this zygote develops into an embryo, and embryo finally gives rise to the new babies. Okay, so all the individuals, whether it is male or female, will be usually having 46 chromosomes, or we call it as 23 pairs of chromosomes. Whereas gametes, whether it's a male gamete or a female gamete, will have only 23 chromosomes. So we are diploid. I'm not able to write, somewhere it's shaking. Please write down D. We are diploid. Oh, it's not coming. Whereas the gametes are haploid. So we are diploid, whether it is a small baby or adult or whatever, we have 23 pairs. That is, altogether we have 46 chromosomes. Whereas gametes will be having only 23 chromosomes. So one set of 23 will be getting from your father, one set you will be getting from your mother. So altogether 46 chromosomes will be having. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the significance of this sexual reproduction? So in the or what is the importance of the sexual reproduction? So sexual reproduction is a mode of multiplication in which young ones are produced to the process of formation and fusion of the gametes. So why sexual reproduction very important is, first, it gives us variation. Okay, as we have discussed previously, you can know that we are similar, we are to the parents, but not identical to the parents. Okay, because they usually during the copying as well as during the fusion, or there will be shuffling or reshuffling of the chromosomes taking place. Due to that, variations are produced. Okay. Next, vigor and vitality. It maintains the vigor and vitality of the population altogether. If there is no sexual reproduction, no new generations will be developed or new offsprings will be developed, and we may become extinct in course of time. Okay, so it maintains the vigor and vitality. Next, uniformity of the population. Means our body design is similar. Okay, we have 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 eyes, 2 ears, so 1 nose. That body design is similar. It maintains the uniformity because of sexual reproduction, because the genes are involved, because the gametes are involved. The uniformity of the population is maintained. Okay, and those will be resembling exactly. If we are humans, all the humans resemble exactly the same. If we are the tiger, all the tigers resemble exactly the same. The body design is in that way. Okay, so uniformity of the population is maintained. Next, evolution. Due to variation in course of time, new species will be developed, and this plays an important role in the evolution. Like how we have developed. From chimpanzees, we have developed we developed as human beings. So it's a course of time. It took us millions of years to develop as a human beings. We as the earth is born, we have not developed. Okay, after millions of years, we appeared as human beings. Okay, because this is due to the process of variation. The small variations what we get, from that you will be developing into a, we can develop again, we can further develop into a new species. Have you seen anybody watch Netflix?
Ma'am, are you talking about Sweet Tooth, ma'am?
Yes, Sweet Tooth. You can see over there. What are the next generation of species? Nobody is watching with Netflix, so all sincere students I have.
Ma'am, a baby is born in which it has
Yes,
both animal characters and human characters.
Yes, all the new babies have both animal as well as human characters. It's a nice movie. You can watch it. You can take permission from your parents and watch. Okay, so that is how the evolution takes place, and we may, as it's shown in that movie, maybe next generations in course of time, we may be becoming hybrids with animal and human features. So let us start with
Ma'am, I had a doubt, ma'am. What is vigor and vitality, ma'am? I didn't understand that.
Vigor and vitality means it maintains the flow of genes. That is what I told you all. If there is no sexual reproduction or no flow of genes taking place from one organism to the other organism, slowly we may become extinct. If there are no variations, if there is no flow of genes, means there will be no variations. If there is no variations, means the organism will be not able to sustain the new environmental conditions. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that vigor and vitality will be maintained. For example, I'll tell you this one in this example. Now you bring a village person, a core village person, and ask him to stay in Chennai. Will he be able to stay?
No, ma'am.
Or I ask you suddenly, I take you and put it in some farmhouse without anything around, only leaves, plants, nothing. You will be able to stay?
No, ma'am.
Because we have those variations. It's not visual, but we have those variations. Urban people, we have variations in such a way we will be suitable to the surrounding environment. Those variations may not be present in a rural person, a core rural person. He cannot come immediately and survive in the city, either due to environmental factors or physical factors. Okay, so those variations will be able to maintain the vigor and vitality of the person based on the surrounding environmental conditions.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Okay. So this first we'll be talking about the sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. This is the most important question in the biology part of class 10. No paper is there without this question from the flowering plants. Either whatever the flower I have kept here, the longitudinal section of the flower, either they ask you to draw this flower and label the parts, or they have given the flower itself and ask you all to label the parts and explain the each and every part. There is another one, is ovary is also there, TS of the ovary. Either of them will be coming for you all as a 5 marks question. No 3 marks. This is direct 5 marks question. This one and previous chapter, urinary excretory system. These are the most repeated 5 marks questions. So what is a flower? A flower is defined as a specialized condensed reproductive shoot of a flowering plants which are essential, on which the essential reproductive parts are arranged. So this is the technical definition of the flower. Okay, the flower is defined as a specialized condensed reproductive shoot of a flowering plant on which the essential reproductive parts are arranged. So this is the longitudinal section of the flower. So in case of longitudinal section of the flower, first I'll explain you all, then I'll show you the flower also. So this is the lower parts. Okay, 1 minute. So the lower part, the green part is known as sepals. The colored part is known as the petals. And we have 2 reproductive organs. One is the we call them as pistil. Other one is known as the stamens. The male reproductive organs are known as stamens, where they can have the small tube-like structure is known as the filament, and the upper part containing the pollen grains is known as the anther. Whereas female reproductive parts are known as pistils or carpels. Okay, what they contain is, they contain 3 subparts, that is stigma, style, and ovary. Again, I'm repeating you all. First, the first green parts of the flower is known as sepal. The colored part of the flower is known as petals. And we have both the male reproductive organs and the female reproductive organs. The male reproductive organs are known as stamens. These are the male reproductive organs. The stamens, what they contain, they again contain 2 parts. One is the filament, the tube-like structure is known as the filament, and the part which contains the pollen grains is known as the anther. Now coming to the female reproductive parts. The female reproductive parts are collectively known as pistils or carpels. So what they contain? They contain stigma, they contain style, and they contain ovary. Okay, now I'm just stopping the video and will be showing you all the real flower for you all to understand. Can you see me?
Yes.
So You can see this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay. 1 minute, I'll take a pointer. So if you see this is a bunch of flowers. This flower is mostly seen in your houses also. So this part, the green part which you can see over here, you can visualize it.
Yes, ma'am.
This green part is the sepals, whereas the colored part are known as the petals. Now I'm dissecting the flower. Now when you open up the flower, you can see over here. Oh, you can see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Can see here clearly.
Yes, ma'am.
So this middle part, you can see over here, the middle straight one. Okay, first we'll discuss the side ones, otherwise. This part, you can see a lobe-like structure. These 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 are present.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. These are the male reproductive parts of the plant. They are known as stamens. So this long tube is known as the filament, whereas this part, the lobe, I'll pluck it out. So this long tube is known as the filament, whereas this part is known as the anther. So this part contains the pollen grains. Okay. Now the female reproductive part of the plant known as pistil. So this long part. So this flower has 4 male reproductive plants, male reproductive parts, that is the stamens, whereas the only single female reproductive. So this long part in the middle, you can see, no, I removed all the side ones. All the anthers were removed. Okay. So this small part, the up one is known as the stigma. The long tube is known as the style. And when we open it up, so I'm removing everything out now. So when we open now, this is the complete only the female reproductive part containing the upper part, that is the stigma, the long tube, that is the style. And when I open this yellow one, okay, I'll show you all the ovary also. There inside the small green part, you can see the ovary. Actually, it is not visual. You cannot visualize it properly. Inside is the ovary. Okay. Another flower I'm going to show you all for your understanding. So this is how the reproductive organs are arranged. So you can see, differentiate now what are stamens and what are pistils.
Yes, ma'am.
What are stamens here?
Ma'am, around the pillar-like thing, they are stamens, and that pillar-like thing is stigma.
Pistil. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does the stamens contain?
Filament.
Stamens. Yes. Filament.
Anthers and filament. Filament is the tube-like thing, and anther is on the top one.
What does the anther contain?
It has male gametes.
Pollen grains.
Pollen grains.
Not male gametes. Pollen grains.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next, what does the female reproductive part is known as?
Pistils.
And what does it contain?
Stigma, style, and ovary.
What is stigma over here?
The top one.
And the style is?
The tube-like.
Ovary is?
It will be there, like bottom part.
Yeah. So I have only this yellow flower. I was able to show it. You can also visualize it very properly in hibiscus. In hibiscus also, when we cut that one, no, the ovary is very, because it's a more bigger flower, you can visualize the ovary also very properly. Hope you all of you understood. So let us move on to the you can see.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the different parts of the flower. Whereas the last, the knob is known as this receptor. This I forgot to tell you all. The whatever we hold it, no, the flower we hold it, that part is known as receptor. Okay. So these are the different parts. First one is the calyx. The sepals are also known as calyx. Okay. The sepals are known as calyx. So they are usually green in color, and occasionally some plants will be having brighter color, and their function is protection. They protect the flower. Okay. Please remember the alternate new name for the sepals. They are also known as calyx. Next, the petals are known as corolla. The petals are known as corolla. Usually these are most colored ones. The color varies from flower to flower, and their main purpose is to extract insects for pollination. For example, attraction of honey bees. So the pollen grains from from anther will be falling on the stigma. We'll discuss how it falls in the next part. It is the male flowering part of the plant, that is stamens, are known as androecium. They are also known as androecium, or they are also known as stamens. They are the male parts of a flowering plants. So what they contain? They contain anther and the filament. The filament is a long stalk, and on the top of the long stalk, anther is present. And what does the anther contain? The anther contains the pollen sacs containing where the pollens are present. What is a pollen means? Small yellow-like small granules. If you see a flower, a rose flower, a normal rose flower, any small yellow things you have seen on the flower?
Ma'am.
Yeah, those are nothing but the pollens. Okay. So this anther holds the pollen sacs where the pollens are formed. These pollens will be giving rise, each pollen will be giving rise to 2 male gametes. Please remember, one pollen grain will be giving rise to 2 male gametes. Next one, The female flowering part is known as pistil, or it is also known as gynoecium. So it is a collection of carpels. Means what each carpel will be containing is. So altogether we can also call them as carpels, or we can also call them as pistil. Okay. So what does each carpel contains is, it contains a ovary which is present at the bottom and contains the female gametes, that is the eggs. So this red, think these red spots as the eggs. So the ovaries contains the ovules, and the ovules will be containing the eggs. Please remember, the ovaries will be having ovules. Don't be confused with ovules and ovary. And these ovules will be having eggs. That is the female gametes. A long style, that is known as the style, and its main function is to carry the pollen grains from the stigma to the ovaries. Next one is stigma. Stigma is a sticky, it is slightly sticky in nature, and it will be able to receive the pollen grains from the anther. So the pollen grains present in the anther, either due to wind or by insects, will be falling on this stigma. Once they fall on stigma, they cannot be going out, or they cannot free itself, because stigma is sticky in nature. So it will be able to receive the pollen grains from the anther. Understood? So these are the functions of each and every part. Why I'm talking you all in this detail is, in most of the cases, they ask you to draw the diagram, or they give the diagram and ask to label few parts and ask to explain about those parts. You should write what they are and also write their function also. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So any doubts still here? Because this is the most important question. Any doubts? Huh? You have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Shall I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, based on the reproductive organs, we have two types of flowering plants. Again, this is a 3 marks question. Based on the reproductive organs, we have 3 types of plants: unisexual and bisexual. If a flower has only either male reproductive organs or only female reproductive organs, they are called as unisexual flowers. Best examples are papaya, watermelon, mulberry, cucurbittus. All these are the examples of the unisexual flowers. So here you can see in the picture, only male gametes are present. No female gamete is present, or female organs are not present. So such a type of flowers are known as unisexual flowers. Next, coming to the bisexual flowers, as we have seen earlier, where both the stamens and the carpels are present, means both the male gametes as well as the female gametes are present. Sorry, not gametes. Male organs and female organs are present in the same flower. Such a flowers are known as bisexual flowers, or there is also known as, other name is there, hermaphrodite. Examples are hibiscus, mustard, rose, peas, All the common flowers are mostly bisexual flowers itself. Shall I move on?
1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, shall I move on? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, pollination. So for transfer of pollen grains from stamens to the pistil or carpels, the process is known as pollination. So transfer of pollen grains from anther of the stamens to the receptive stigma of the carpels is called as the pollination. So pollination can be again of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination means transfer of pollens from anther of the to the stigma of the same flower is known as self-pollination. So if a plant has, now you, 1 minute. Now if this is a plant and the flowers from this plant are bisexual in nature, the transfer will be in the same flower. Means the pollens from the anther of the same flower will be falling on the stigma of the same flower. Okay, such a type of pollination is known as self-pollination. Best examples is rice, pea, wheat, etc. Whereas in case of cross-pollination, where if the plant is having 2 or 3 flowers, so anywhere always the plant will be having different 2 or 3 many flowers will be present on the plant. If it's a small plant, 1 or 2 will be present. If it's a bigger plant like tree, many flowers will be present. If the pollens are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the another flower, means if these are the pollens from this flower, if they are transferred to the stigma of the another flower, such a type of a pollination is known as cross-pollination. Cross-pollination can happen within the same tree or in between 2 or more trees. Okay, cross-pollination can happen within the same tree or between a group of trees present in the orchard. Okay, so the cross-pollination, it can be done either due to wind, or it can be due to water, or also due to by animals, by help of insects or any other animal. So cross-pollination usually require external agents like wind, water, and animals. So best examples for cross-pollination are rose and mango. So any doubts still here?
Ma'am, can I?
What,
Ma'am, had got disconnected.
any doubt?
No doubts, ma'am.
Okay. Next, fertilization of formation. So with this, I'll stop the class. In the next class, we'll be moving with the fertilization because this is a big process. It takes a lot of time for you all to explain for me. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So with this, we'll conclude the class. So what is the homework you have? So Wednesday, you are having exam. Please remember, all of you. On Wednesday, you have the exam on the complete life process chapter, 40 marks exam.
Ma'am, can I get your phone number so that I can ask any doubts if I have?
Yes. You please note down.
Yes, ma'am.
98481 32675.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You can WhatsApp me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Wednesday, you are having exam for the live process. It will be only a 40 marks. In that, I'll be giving you all 10 or 12 marks based on the marks arrangement. I'll be giving you all multiple choice or fill in the blanks or assertion and reasoning. Remaining will be 3 marks and 5 marks questions.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then. See you. Take care. Don't go out. Be careful.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.